Food companies, we know that they love to make money. And they've really just jumped on this, promoting their candy months before the actual holiday. And I know you guys see this with Christmas, because this is what happens. We have Halloween, like there's an entire aisle dedicated in some grocery stores to this holiday candy. Got all our Halloween candy, and then Halloween's over. Literally the next day, you've got Christmas everywhere. You've got like the candy canes, you've got the little Hershey Kisses and the little red and green packaging. Like they don't mess around with this. Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Becoming Natural. I am Victoria Reg, your host, a certified transformational nutrition coach and expert in the areas of mental wellness and nutrition. This podcast is to provide you with the tools and knowledge that you need to live a healthy and natural life in a world where so many things are contaminated with chemicals and all kinds of things that we would never encounter out in the natural world that are doing all kinds of crazy stuff to our bodies that we really don't want. So what is up, you guys? I hope your week has been freaking awesome, and we are approaching another holiday. Yes, Easter is just right around the corner, and this is a very, candy heavy celebrated holiday. I know Halloween is kind of one that we really think of as a candy heavy holiday, and maybe even Valentine's Day. But Halloween's the one that really is like, okay, the whole premise of this holiday is to dress up and go get candy. Unless you're an adult, and then it's to dress up and go to parties and get fucked up. But if you're a kid, even if you're an adult, and you just want to eat a bunch of candy, it's basically the premise of the holiday. And Easter is really kind of become the same way. It's really just focused around candy. We had candy for kids so that they can go eat it. I would say Easter is the second most candy celebrated holiday, because most people do something for Easter. I wouldn't say most people do something for Valentine's Day, buy candy. Maybe you do. I don't know. I personally don't. I don't ever buy candy on Valentine's Day. Maybe afterwards, when it goes on sale and they have the really good chocolate, I'll go and buy that. Christmas, I think that's really more focused on cakes and baked goods and food in general. Same thing with Thanksgiving. Those aren't really candy oriented. Halloween, we literally hide candy for kids. We're okay, here, go find it. A few months ago, you were just knocking on strangers' doors, getting free candy. Now you gotta go find it. We're gonna hide it. We're gonna hide it in these eggs that were laid by some human-sized monster rabbit. So does the Easter rabbit, this is a question I've always had, does he lay the eggs? Maybe it's a female. I don't know. I always assumed that the Easter bunny was a male, and maybe he was laying eggs, or maybe he was stealing them from these decorative chickens. I don't know. These are things that I feel like I need answers to. How weird is that? I don't know where the rabbit hiding the eggs came from. Interesting. So before we get into the candy bit of this episode, let's talk a little bit where the egg tradition came from, because I do know about that. As far as the giant creepy bunny, that part I really don't know. Did you guys ever get your picture taken with the Easter bunny at the mall or something when you were little? I remember there was this mall. It's not open anymore, but when I was little, it was a really old mall that was built. God, I don't know. I just remember it being really old. And there was the Easter rabbit. He would sit in the middle, kind of like Santa, in a chair, and you'd go up and get your picture taken with him. But he had this really creepy, overly sized giant rabbit head with these giant eyeballs and the rabbit teeth. I always thought it was super creepy. I was not a fan. Santa, I didn't mind taking pictures of Santa. Easter Bunny, on the other hand, yeah, wasn't a fan. Definitely not. Anyways, so this egg thing is actually a Scandinavian pagan tradition. I don't know if that surprises some of you if you already knew that, but it originated to celebrate the spring equinox. So winters are really bad up in Scandinavia. In case you didn't know, it gets really fucking cold. It snows a lot. Things don't grow, and hens rarely, if ever, lay any eggs over the winter. So when springtime would start to come around, these hens would start laying eggs. So these were really, really cherished items because you've gone all winter eating, what you had left over from the fall, grains and anything that you could have preserved. Maybe you're running really low on that. And now your chickens are laying eggs. So now you have this really nutrient dense food. So this is a really, really, prized item that here spring is coming. Now we've got food. We've got these eggs. We can eat. We're not going to starve and die. And they actually even use these as, payments for certain items because they were so cherished. So the people started decorating these eggs. They would paint them. They would dye them. And they really were just they were something that was so cherished because now you have food. And I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, maybe to us here in the modern world who can go, to the grocery store, even Uber Eats, DoorDash some food to ourselves. But to these people who didn't have food or very, very little food over the winter, now to have this fresh protein and nutrient dense food, it's a big fucking deal, man. It's a really, really big deal. So the modern eggs that we think about, the chocolate eggs, weren't created until 1875 by Cadbury. And they became super, super popular. And now we've just got this candy centralized holiday. And food companies, we know that they love to make money. And they've really, really just jumped on this, promoting their candy months before the actual holiday. And I know you guys see this with Christmas because this is what happens. We have Halloween, there's an entire aisle dedicated in some grocery stores to this holiday candy. Got all our Halloween candy, and then Halloween's over. Literally the next day, you've got Christmas everywhere. You've got the candy canes, you've got the little Hershey Kisses and the little red and green packaging. They don't mess around with this. They're okay, you ate this junk. Now we're going to give you more junk to buy because we know you're going to buy it and we're going to make money. Obviously, these guys don't care about your health, and they literally don't care at all because they're making money. Otherwise, they would be using, clean ingredients. But they're going to do it literally the cheapest way that they possibly can. And, sadly, most of the chocolate, the holiday chocolate, it doesn't even contain chocolate. It contains palm oil and some flavorings. And maybe a cocoa liqueur or a chocolate liqueur, which isn't actually... It's not actually chocolate. There's no chocolate in that, which is really sad. And especially thinking that I used to eat Reese's a lot, a lot. And I really liked that chocolate. Now, I can't remember the last time I ate a Reese's, but I know that if I did eat one, I would be what is this absolute trash that I have put in my mouth? Because I feel I would be able to, I'd be this isn't fucking chocolate. This is nasty oil. It's just bleh. There's a bunch of pigeons outside my door. I don't know if you guys can hear them. This happens every time. There's no birds, and then I go to record, and then there's just birds everywhere, and then they just start chirping or cooing or whatever they're doing. So if you hear some pigeons in the background, that's what that is. Pretty sure they're pigeons. I don't know. I can't see them. I can just hear them. So, like I said, I love chocolate and I like candy, really, honestly, just as much as anybody else, especially chocolate. Freaking, I cannot. I eat chocolate almost every day. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's amazing, but I do eat dark chocolate. So here are the things that I avoid whenever I'm going to buy chocolate or if I'm gonna buy a candy. I don't buy a whole lot of candy. Sometimes I do. Usually it's like me getting it for somebody else. And like, I'm not gonna buy crap candy and, let my friends eat crap candy. I'm gonna buy good candy. But here are the things that I personally avoid. So the first thing I look for is artificial coloring. Does this contain artificial colors? If it does, I'm not gonna buy it. Especially red 40. I know I have told you guys this before, but I am very, very allergic to red 40. Weirdest thing. Red 40, blue number 1, those are some really bad ones. But I avoid all artificial colorings in general. These are derived from petroleum, which is, a gasoline byproduct. And they're linked to several health issues, including allergies, like giving you allergies. Not allergies to that, not like I ate red 40 and I have an allergy to it, but giving you allergies to other things. It can even cause you to have eczema and hyperactivity in children. ADHD is directly linked to red 40. And these actually require a warning label in Europe. Like, if you go to buy something with these artificial colors in it outside of the US, they have a warning label on them that says, hey, this is linked to cancer. Hey, this is linked to ADHD in children. But here in America, companies do whatever they want, and we don't have warning labels. These are also contaminated with carcinogens or cancer-causing ingredients themselves. So artificial colorings, I don't mess around with those. Anything that has that, I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to put that crap in my body. There are natural colorings that you can get that are like vegetable-based, fruit-based, and they're not that much more expensive. Like if you're going to make a cake or something, or even just like if you're buying candy, find something that's colored with a vegetable-based color or a fruit-based color. They're, like I said, they're really not that much more expensive. Maybe they're like a couple cents more, but a couple cents now to not put this shit in your body and have health concerns later, to me, that's worth it. You can make your own decision on that, but that's just my take. The second thing that I look for is artificial flavoring. Artificial flavors are complex chemical mixtures that are made in the lab using various substances like crude oil, coal tar, and they can contain upwards of 100 ingredients. Like each artificial flavor itself can contain over 100 ingredients, including some that have been banned recently, but they're still using them. Because like I said, these companies do whatever the fuck they want. These food companies, they don't have to tell you anything about the ingredients that are in their artificial flavors. Legally, they are not required. You could even write to them and be like, hey, can you tell me what's in this artificial flavoring to see if you're allergic to it or it's causing you to have some type of reaction? And they can just be like, no, fuck off. And you can't do anything about it. They'll just literally put artificial flavor on the ingredient label and we're just, kind of left in the dark with what we're eating. So I don't eat those because, again, I'm not trying to put artificial crap in my body. And again, when you consume something and your body doesn't know what to do with it and it thinks that it's potentially harmful, it likes to put it in fat. And then it's really hard to burn that fat because your body's like, oh, this is potentially dangerous. I'm gonna keep it in this fat where it's safe. So then you're stuck with this fat that's really hard to burn. And most of us want to burn fat and not have fat, so that's kind of counterproductive there. Third thing I really, really, really heavily avoid is preservatives. Like BHT, TBHQ, datum. These are ones that are very, very popular in candies and chocolates. Also with packaged food items like Twinkies or like the donuts, Rice Krispie treats, things like that, you're going to see a lot of TBHQ, BHT, and these are all really, really bad. They're linked to cancer, directly linked. They're not like, oh, maybe this causes cancer. Like, they're like, oh, this does cause cancer. These are carcinogenic. They're really unnecessary. There are natural, preservatives that we can use. But again, these companies just want to do things really cheap. They're just trying to make money, and these are more heavily regulated in Europe and Australia. But again, this is America, so, companies and corporations, again, do whatever the fuck they want. Number 4, high fructose corn syrup. This shit is in everything. Like, if you're buying a prepackaged food or a prepackaged drink, it's probably got high fructose corn syrup in it. And here's the thing about high fructose corn syrup that should scare you. It goes straight to your liver and signals your body to start fat production. Yeah, like if that's not a good enough reason right there to stop eating it, man, I don't know what to tell you. It also increases your triglycerides and cholesterol production. Fat has really, really been demonized as a source of cholesterol problems, but it's actually sugar that is the bad guy here. High doses of high fructose corn syrup can even poke tiny holes in your gut lining, leading to something called leaky gut, which allows food and bacteria to enter your bloodstream, causing all kinds of diseases like type 2 diabetes and obesity. I avoid high fructose corn syrup. There's all kinds of other sweeteners out there that are good, like monk fruit sugar, coconut sugar. Stevia is even good. And if you buy stevia, here's the thing though, you do have to be careful, because some of these companies will say like natural stevia, and then you flip it over and they've got the green label, of course, and they put the leaves on it. They make it look all like healthy. You flip it over and it's not just stevia. They've got other ingredients in there. So you do really have to be careful. This is why I'm such an advocate for reading labels and not just looking at the front of packages, because these companies hire graphic artists and marketing people who know what people like, what makes our little brains like, oh, this is healthy, this looks awesome. They spend shit tons of money on this, like literally on marketing, so that you will buy it. So don't just fall for the front packaging. Do flip it over. Do read what you're putting in your body. The next thing I avoid is sugar-free candies. These are artificial sweeteners. They've been linked to cancer and depression, and these fake sugars destroy the good bacteria in your gut, which is where 80% of your serotonin is produced. They also signal to your body that you're about to consume sugar. So when you don't, your body freaks out and it increases your appetite so that you can get the sugar that you promised it whenever you put that fake sugar in your mouth. And on a previous episode, I know that I told you guys about how your brain will take half of the sugar that you consume. So if you consume 5 grams of sugar, your brain's immediately going to take 2.5. So let's say I eat some artificial sweetener. There's not actually sugar. My brain doesn't get half of it. It's going to freak out. And it's going to make me really hungry. And then I'm just going to eat more. Either more of that, which is very, very bad for me. And then I'm, absolutely destroying my microbiome. Or I'm going to eat something else and I'm eventually going to get the sugar that my body wants. So sugar-free candies, I stay away from those. The next thing is seed oils. Lots of candies, especially chocolates, use seed oils like canola, soybean oil, vegetable oil, or another seed oil in them. And these polyunsaturated fatty acids are inflammatory and they increase your fat production. They literally inflame your fat cells. They inflame your brain. They inflame everything. And once you consume these things, you guys, it's not like you consume it and your body processes it and then it's out of your system. These have a half-life of over 600 days. It's about 2 years as a half-life. which means that in 2 years from now, you're going to have about half of the polyunsaturated fatty acids in your body or in your fat cells that you did previously. This is why I avoid this stuff, like, at all costs. I do not eat seed oils. They're so freaking bad for you, and they stay in your body for such a long time. Now, if you do eat them and you're like, oh my God, I've been eating this stuff, it's okay. Don't freak out. Just stop eating it. And your body's going to do its thing. You know, these have been linked to eczema, other kinds of skin conditions like rashes and allergies, and things that people really don't think about would be linked to these polyunsaturated fatty acids, but they're so bad. So bad for you. And if you want to learn more about that, I do have an entire episode dedicated to seed oils and the effects that it has on your body and your brain. So if all of these candies are so bad, like, you know, I said, I love chocolate. I absolutely love it. What can you do? So when you go to the grocery store and you see that entire aisle of candy, and you're like, dang, dude, I'm going to have all these kids over for Easter, or you're going to some Easter party or whatever, and you need to bring candy. Oh, well, Victoria told me that this stuff is really bad and I shouldn't eat it. What are you going to do? Here's the cool thing about information being out there for people is these companies, there are companies that know that people like me and you want better options. So they make better options. So companies like HU Chocolate, I don't know if it's like who, it's short for human, which is pretty cool. That is my absolute favorite brand for chocolate because they use real cacao, which is unrefined cocoa. They use coconut sugar and coconut butter, or cocoa butter, I bet. These guys are amazing. Like, you can buy their chocolate and look at it, and there's 3, maybe 4 ingredients on the back. There's no dyes, no artificial sweeteners, no preservatives, or any of that crap in there. They are just real chocolate, and it tastes so freaking good. Like, the difference in that and the crappy chocolate that you're getting from the gas station is absolutely insane. And again, they're really not that much more than the crappy, you know, mainstream candies and chocolates. So that is personally my favorite chocolate. And they're organic, which is really, really cool. I also really like peanut butter cups. Like I said, I used to eat Reese's all the time, but obviously I don't eat those anymore. And it's not like I'm just depriving myself of peanut butter cups, because I'm not about to do that. Instead, I eat the Unreal Chocolate peanut butter cups. And the cool thing about this is, so when I would eat Reese's, I could eat a king size Reese's, which is, you know, the 4 cups, and still eat more Reese's. Like, or if I bought the little mini pack, not like the really tiny ones that are in the foil wrapper, I never liked those. I don't know if it was like the peanut butter chocolate ratio being off or something, but I'm talking about like the pack with a bunch of them in them. Dude, I would eat all of those and I could still eat more. The reason for that being is the type of sugars that are in that. Your brain is like, and the fact that it's a milk chocolate, your brain's like, yeah, eat more of this. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We don't want that. And with the Unreal Chocolate peanut butter cups, I can eat one and they're not huge. I think they're a little bit smaller than a Reese's. And I don't mean like one pack, like 2 of them. I mean literally one. And I'm like, I am good. I don't want to eat another one because it's such a rich chocolate. And the peanut butter is so good. Man, those are my favorite peanut butter cups. Or Justin's. Justin's dark chocolate peanut butter cups. Those are basically the same price as Reese's. Like, I think they might be 5 cents more. And they're organic. They're not using crap. And they're so freaking good. So I definitely eat a lot of those. What you want to look for when you're buying chocolate is you do want an organic chocolate because you don't want pesticides in it. And when it comes to organic foods, if it's labeled organic, they can't have anything artificial in it. They can't have any, crappy preservatives. And these crops are not being sprayed with glyphosate, which is absolutely terrible for you, or other types of pesticides like that. So organic is going to be your best option. If you can't find organic, that is okay. But you do want to look for a dark chocolate that's sweetened with a natural sugar instead of a milk chocolate that's using sugar and artificial flavorings. Now, as for candy, Yum Earth makes really, really great candies that have clean ingredients, and they make all kinds of candy. Like they have gummies, they have like chewy candies, like the, hard shell, they're chewy on the inside. They make suckers, they make all kinds of stuff. You've also got Smart Sweets. They make a lot of gummies, like gummy bears, gummy worms, and then Alter Ego. Now those are going to be good candy options. So moral of the story here, guys, is yes, you can still eat sweet things and enjoy your food without putting crap in your body that's going to make you feel like complete shit. Because there are these companies out there who are making better candies for you. Now, the best thing you can do, and I know most of you don't have time for this, which is totally okay, but it would be to make your own stuff, especially if you have kids. Like, you guys could make some peanut butter cups, which are super, super easy to make. Literally, all you have to do is get peanut butter, mix it with some maple syrup, form them into like little patties, and then melt down some chocolate. I like to use the Who chocolate gems. Just melt that with some coconut oil, put it in the bottom of a little muffin liner, put your little peanut butter disc on there, put it in the freezer for like a couple minutes, and then pour more chocolate over the top, more of that melted chocolate, stick it in the freezer, and then there you go, you've got peanut butter cups. Literally the easiest thing ever. So making your own stuff like that, making your own candy, like gummies, super, super easy. It does take some time, but again, it'd be a fun project with your kids or with your friends or whatever, if you're just bored and you don't have anything better to do. So as always, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I hope you have learned something that, you can utilize this holiday and whenever our next candy holiday comes around, which is gonna be Halloween. So maybe buying some better candy options to hand out if you are a candy hander-outer. Or maybe when it gets closer, we'll talk about some things that you can do when your kids do come back with shit tons of crappy candy. And I mean, you don't want to steal it from them because that's super messed up. So maybe when Halloween comes closer around, we'll look into that. But yes, thank you, absolutely wonderful people. I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, don't forget to check out my handmade, all-natural personal care products that are now available on my website. And since you guys are so awesome, I do want to give you 10% off of your order. And not just your first order, can be off your second order, your third order. Anytime you order, you could literally get 10% off because you're here listening to this podcast. All you have to do is go to victoriaraycoaching.com/shop and enter the discount code Becoming Natural as one word. No space in between, just Becoming Natural. Everything on there is made using only the highest quality and natural ingredients. Nothing toxic, no preservatives. I'm not going to do that to you guys, and I'm not going to have you use something that I would not personally use myself. So until next time, my friends, go out there, have a fucking awesome holiday, and have a great rest of your day.